Welcome to Nature Therapy Online. Hello folks, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 9 of Nature Therapy Online. It's really lovely to be here. Thank you so much for listening. If you're new to the podcast, then that's a really beautiful thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for people who have been listening from the start, of which I finally know there are actually some people listening to this, that's great. Thank you so much. I've had some lovely emails over the last couple of weeks. It really does make it feel worthwhile. It makes it feel like, I'm not just sitting up here talking to myself, although I do enjoy doing that as well, frankly. So it's just, really nice to be connecting with people and knowing that, the things I'm kind of babbling away in front of this microphone at home here are meaning something to people and reaching people. So thank you. On that note, I do really welcome feedback on the podcast and ideas about where you would like me to take the podcast. There aren't too many ecotherapy or nature therapy podcasts out there, so I think it would be really great to hear what you think I should be doing here, and what kind of things I should be covering. So for episode 9, I thought I would chill out a bit and take a little bit more of a conversational, relaxed tone. I had to listen back over the podcasts, and something I noticed is there's a certain consistency with the sort of downbeat tone I've been taking, and that's been for a good reason, and mainly that's been because I've wanted to share how relaxing nature can be. So part of doing that has been to, present, not only the meditations, because obviously, they need to be presented in a calm way for them to be effective. But, also some of the tasks I've been talking about have been, very mindful tasks, and it's felt really relevant to, present them in quite a calm and relaxed way to you. But having said that, I plan to be doing this podcast for a really long time, hopefully, and, I've been thinking about different ways that I can do this. And one of the ways that I think is going to, make this a more viable project long term is to relax and totally be myself and to just chat away and have a conversational tone with you sometimes. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And obviously when I'm sharing more calm, mindful tasks, I will take a calm, mindful tone. But for today, I just thought I would be a bit more chatty and I guess bring another side of myself to the podcast. So first of all, what I want to plug to you, and it is just a shameless plug, is something I've been putting a real lot of work into over the last few months. So I have another new website, and it's naturecourses.info. Now, over the last few months, I've been working really ridiculously hard. I've hardly seen any nature, to be honest, over the last few months, which is quite ironic, to create online support courses for everyone to join that introduce ecotherapy tasks. Now, anyone can join these courses at any time, and how they work is that each week you are given 3 ecotherapy tasks or exercises to do, and you keep a journal. The tasks or exercises might be a more appropriate word for them, are given to you via video. So there's 3 videos to watch each week where I am out in nature, showing you how to actually do the tasks, giving you examples, inviting you to reflect on your own experiences. So whereas a lot of nature therapy courses that are online are geared towards training people to be nature therapists, this is a nature therapy support course for everybody. And one of the reasons I did that is because I felt that, you know, sorry, there's Euro digging away in the background. Regular listeners to my show will know that my dog likes to dig holes in my lovely sofa while I'm on the podcast. So Euro, please, love, please, please. I don't cut it out because I consider my dog to be a part of nature, and to use him as an example of how difficult nature can be. Lie down, chicken. There you go. Good boy. So yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to do these courses is because I felt like there's so much discussion around nature therapy at the moment and how good it is for us to bond with nature. And yet it's really hard to actually find a nature therapist or an ecotherapist to work for. So I've put together a nature therapy course that anyone can join and can access nature therapy online. And I actually provide support to you throughout the whole 4 weeks. So anyway, I'm not going to plug it too much because the product placement can only go so far. But if you are interested, please go and have a look at naturecourses.info. So, what else have I been up to recently? Well, I'm part of a storytelling group with an incredible Scottish author called Daniel Allison, and he writes a lot of stories about mythology, Scottish mythology in particular. And one thing that I'm really enjoying in this group is learning how to tell nature stories in an engaging way. So hopefully that's something I can bring more to the podcast as I go along and as I get the feedback on how to become a more effective storyteller. I've also, and this next point that I want to share with you is not just me, talking about my life for no good reason. It's something I want to talk about in terms of the theme for today, which is overcoming cliches and stereotypes in nature. And I was thinking about this recently because I just got back from a little holiday in a really beautiful place in Scotland called the Isle of Barra. Now, Barra is a tiny island. You can drive from one side to the other in like 25 minutes. It's up in the Hebrides, which is the western islands of Scotland, in the very north. So it's, there's some very challenging weather up there a lot of the time. However, we were really lucky and it was, really sunny and quite beautiful weather. But one thing that was so striking about the nature in this place is the absolute beauty of the beaches. And this is something that we don't really think about when we think of Scotland. We don't think that Scotland is one of the countries that has some of the most beautiful beaches in the entire world. So if I told you that there have been advertisements for Thai beaches and they have come to Scotland to take photographs of the beaches in Scotland to advertise your holidays in Thailand, I'm not sure if you would believe me, but that is a fact, and that's actually a true thing that happened. Because the beaches in Thailand were so busy that they couldn't get a decent photograph of how it looks. So this, beautiful turquoise blue water of the sea, think of the whitest sand you can possibly think of. and think of, just absolute cleanliness, dolphins, whales and sharks in the distance, just, the most stunning and almost cliched idea of a beautiful beach you can imagine. That's where I've just been. And it got me thinking about how we stereotype nature, how we think of, for example, beaches being something that we do when we're on holidays in a hot country, or something that is something to be enjoyed in the summer only. And one of my favorite beaches in the world actually is in another place in Scotland called Musselburgh. And in Musselburgh, I mean, this is not a beautiful beach. It's probably, not especially. I think it's beautiful, but most people don't. It's full of mussel shells and stones. There's not much sand there for the majority of the beach. Um, and as a result, not many people actually take walks along there, even when the weather is beautiful, which I quite enjoyed when I was there. Because I used to live in this area. That kind of solitude was great, but it really got me thinking again about what we appreciate and why we appreciate certain things. Now I'm going to be quiet for a minute, because there's a little wood pigeon just outside the window there, and it's very sweet. So I hope you can hear it. Next time it comes, I'll go quiet, and then you'll know why I'm going quiet. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I want to invite you to consider any cliched or stereotypical views that you might have about the nature where you live. I'm talking about beaches as an example. Um, but how do you view, for example, forests or woodlands or rivers, or beaches if you live in a coastal area? Maybe you live in a really hot city in a hot country, but you don't have much access to nature. Maybe it kind of makes you laugh when people from northern cold countries like me associate being in a hot place with being by the beach and being by lots of nature. Because that's just not the case for a lot of people in the world. So what I would invite you to do is to go for a walk and try not to see your nature through a sort of cliched lens, because I know that I'm guilty of doing this. I think that sometimes when we view, we hold these stereotypical views, we don't really look so closely. So, using the beach example, if I am in a beach here in Scotland, I might not pay as much attention to how the smell of the sea is, compared to if I'm on a holiday in Spain, where I'm relaxing and I'm on my holidays and I'm paying attention to that smell, because in my mind it's more special because I'm on my holiday. So I hope this is making sense, what I'm getting at, and this can apply to any place. And what I really want you to do is just go for a walk in an open space and tune in to all of your senses. And when you do that, consider any things that you usually block out or ignore because they don't feel, somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a message that makes you feel like it doesn't, fit that part of nature, or it doesn't fit the stereotypical image. And pay attention. Pay attention to your local nature in the way that you would pay attention to the nature where you would go on your holiday, and see your local place with fresh eyes in that way. Treat your local area as a beautiful place, because your local area will be a beautiful place. And, probably there are people in different parts of the world who would love to be where you are right now, wherever you are, because, it's hard to holiday right now. So we need to open our eyes to the beauty that's around us, especially with the challenges we're facing in the world right now. So that's my invitation for this week. Take some notes, do a little grounding meditation, tune into all of your senses. Take deep breaths, listen to everything in the soundscape, look around at everything you can see, take in any scents through your nose. Take some time to use your sense of touch and pay attention to the temperature. Do all of these things and consider that nature is not a cliche, and nature will not be stereotyped, but our minds are probably blocking out a lot of beauty around us. So that's me for this week. That was season 1, episode 9. I feel like I've been a little bit more hyper and excitable than usual, but actually this is probably more in tune with how I sound on a day-to-day life than some of the previous podcasts have been. So perhaps I might be sounding a bit more excitable in some of the future podcasts also. So before I go, I'm just going to invite you again to get in touch with any tips that you have for ways in which you connect with nature, and I will share those tips on the podcast. I really want to hear what you do to bond with nature, no matter how simple it is or how unusual it might be. It's all valid, and I will share every tip that you give, I promise. So drop me an email through my website at naturetherapyonline.net. And that's this week. So thank you very much. Enjoy nature and have a lovely week, my friends. Bye-bye. Visit me online at naturetherapyonline.net.